Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a Risk Management 1 lecture. Today, we are not going to cover much. We are simply going to run through our course outline so that we will have the general overview of the program. Our first topic in the course outline is the risk management. On that one, the first stage is just an introduction to the course, which I would like to summarize as in that risk management is a very, very important course in the loss control and security management field. It is the one which actually empowers risk managers or loss control officers to be able to identify the risks which affect the organization and be able to come up with measures to mitigate the losses. By doing so, the loss manager will create value to the organization and will also save the organization a great deal in terms of survival. Then I want now to move on to what is what is risk management. But I have actually seen it fit that we might need to understand what is risk first before we look at what is risk management. So I will briefly define risk for you as all activities which might actually cause loss to the organization. In other words, the way the risk can be defined as the likelihood that an undesirable event will occur. Then we'll then move on to the subheading, which is called risk management. Risk management is defined as the process of identification, assessment, and prioritization of risks with a view to treat those risks and reduce the impact to the organization. Then under that topic, we're also going to look at the benefits of risk management. You'll find out that as we progress with the course, there are quite a number of benefits of risk management. The first one might be the issue of survival. That is, risk management activities enable the organization to survive in a harsh economic environment, in a competitive environment. In other words, risk management help in securing the going concern of an organization. Risk management also assists in the profitability of an organization. Remember, risk management activities are key in loss reduction. Simple business understanding tells us that $1 saved on cost is $1 added on to profits. And then our risk management activities also assist us in protecting the image of the organization in the eyes of stakeholders, the members of the public, the customers, and all other stakeholders. Then lastly, on the introductory lesson, we are going to cover the types of risks. Risks are broadly divided into behavioral risks and business risks. Behavioral risks are subdivided into systematic and unsystematic risks, whereas business risks are divided into market risk, which in short is the risk that our products might fail to sell. We also have credit risk, which is the risk that those people who could have bought goods on credit from us might fail to settle their accounts. We also have what we call liquidity risk, which is the risk that the organization might fail to settle its short-term financial obligations with the available resources. We also have operational risks. Those are risks which are associated with the operations of the organizations, that is, any activities which might disrupt the organization's operations. We also have asset management risks. Those are risks which are associated with the damage to the assets of the organization, issues to do with vandalism and theft, issues to do with misuse of company's assets. We also have process risks. Right. So in short, those are the types of risks that we can actually talk about. Then we'll move on to the second unit, which looks at risk assessment methodologies. Under that one, we are going to look at approaches to risks, which are broadly divided into pure risk management approach and the positive risk management approach. Pure risk management approach hinges on the fact that normally risks results in one outcome, which is no loss or loss. Then the positive risk management approach is actually based on the speculative risk aspect, which actually talks about the fact that risks management or risks actually have two outcomes. That is a profit or a gain and a loss. Then under that, we'll look at other approaches to risk management, that is the qualitative approach and the quantitative approach. Then we'll lastly, under that particular unit, look at the risk matrix. The risk matrix now is actually a combination of two factors. We have the likelihood or the probability of a risk occurring on one hand, and the impact on the other hand. So the risk matrix actually assists us generally to be able to see how severe a particular risk might be and what will be its aggregate impact to the organization in the event that it occurs. It's actually a very, very important tool in a risk prioritization. So the risk matrix marks the end of our second unit. Then I will move on to unit 3, where we are going to look at vulnerability assessment. The word vulnerability simply talks about how exposure, a particular business transaction, a particular business unit, a particular business process, particular assets of the organization are exposed to risks. Then under that vulnerability assessment, we'll then look at critical areas of business systems. Under that subtopic of critical areas of business systems, you will find out that different business have got different critical areas. For instance, in the manufacturing sector, you will find out that the critical areas of business might be issues to do with the plant and equipment, issues to do with the procurement process, that is the procurement of the inputs, issues to do with the packaging, issues to do with the branding, issues to do with the marketing. Those might be the critical areas of business, which might be totally different when we look at the banking sector. The banking sector also have its different critical areas of business. So you'll find out that vulnerability assessment targeting on critical areas of business are mainly aimed at ensuring that there will be no disruptions to those critical areas of business, because any such disruption might actually affect the productivity of the organization as a whole, might affect the quality of the products, might affect the service delivery of that particular company, which at the end of the day will result in losses. Then, under that topic again on vulnerability assessment, we'll then look at demystifying social engineering. You'll find out that is topic on demystifying social engineering and protecting confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Those are topics to do with threats which are associated with computer systems. So social engineering is another tactic which is used by criminals to circumvent computer systems, thereby steal data, steal information, and in certain instances, defraud the organization. Then we'll move on to Unit 4, where we are going to look at risk management objectives. Risk management objectives. Under that particular topic, we are going to look at, we're actually saying risk management objectives are aimed at preventing or mitigating risks which might result in a compromise of business functions, compromise of business assets, and then we'll then look at loss minimization, efficacy, and effectiveness. Then from there, we'll move on to the risk management process. A risk management process. Under this particular unit, we are going to look at risk identification. How do we identify risks? There are so many ways of identifying risks, which among others includes document reviews. It includes conducting physical risk assessment. It includes brainstorming and other methods. Then we'll also look at measuring risks. Remember, risks are supposed to be measured. The impact, the probable impact of each particular risk is supposed to be measured. This is normally achieved also by quantifying the likelihood or the chances and the impact per occurrence. And if we measure these risks that way, we'll be able to see, to divide the risks into low impact, medium impact, and high impact risks. And this is very, very critical because the efforts and the priority efforts are supposed to be directed to those high risk, it's a high impact risks, so that they are mitigated or they are prevented in order to reduce their impact to the organization. Then from there, we'll look at, we'll then examine solutions. After we have measured risks, we have identified the risks, measured risks, we now need to look at what solutions can actually be put in place, either to prevent the risks or to mitigate them. Then we are then supposed to implement solutions, which means solutions suitable to a particular identified risks are the ones which are implemented. Then after implementation, we monitor the results. Monitoring the results is actually very, very important because it enables us to assess whether the measures that we have put in place to prevent a particular risk or mitigate it are working. If they are not working, which means we are then supposed to choose another method or another solution to deal with that particular risk or to treat that particular risk. Then we'll also look at risk mitigation planning. There is need to come up with a plan. We then need to implement that particular plan. and then we review the plan. Then the last topic will be risk management strategies. Under that particular topic, we're going to look at various strategies. Number one being risk avoidance, which in short simply means the organization must avoid undertaking a particular activity which it believes might actually cause a loss to the organization. But this is a very poor risk management strategy. Why? Because other organization might take that particular risk and be able to obtain gains at the end of the day. We'll then look at another risky management strategy, that is risk reduction. Under this one, we are looking at all measures which are put in place to mitigate the impacts of a risk to an organization in the event that it occurs. We'll then look at risk sharing, which is also referred to as risk transfer, outsource or insure. By this method, we are simply taking insurance or we are simply buying insurance policies to cover a particular risk so that in the event that it occurs, we'll then receive compensation from the insurance firm. Another strategy is risk retention, which in short simply means the organization could have chose to live with the risk. Why? Because otherwise the cost of trying to prevent or mitigate or to treat the risks might be higher than the benefits that will be obtained at the end of the day. So in that regard, the organization is better off to just live with the risk. Then lastly, we'll then look at the risk management steps. So that is the end of our run down to the course outline. Our next stage will then look at chapter 1 and try to cover a number of topics there, so a number of subtopics, so that we have a better appreciation of the risk management module. Thank you.